Here is a response to an AskProfWolff question sent in by a member of our Patreon community, Dan Liguori. Dan asks a question that has come to me before. It's about carried interest. Carried interest is a kind of income earned by managers of hedge funds, capital funds, equity funds, basically a kind of income earned by those people who manage other people's money. If you're rich enough to have a great deal of money that you don't have the time or interest or knowledge to manage effectively, if you're busy doing whatever it is that you do as your main job in the business world, in entertainment and education, wherever, then you pay somebody to manage your money for you. You pay them for their expertise in how to use money to make money, by lending it, by buying and selling shares of stock, by placing investments in new startups, things like that. It's a way of making money that really only the rich, a small minority of our people, ever can take advantage of, and it's the richest of the rich who do most of it. You've heard words like hedge fund, private equity fund. Terms like that are what these managers do. And they get paid very well. Typically, if you use a service like this, you pay an annual fee, 1%, 2%, 3%, and then you give them a cut of how well they do. If your wealth goes up by 20%, they get a cut of that. If it goes up by 30%, they get a cut of that, and so on. For reasons of history, having to do with centuries-old practices, when ships would actually carry something, and when they carried something, say, from the United States to Europe, the captain of the ship would get a fee for carrying things, which was called the carried interest. That name has survived even though the practice is gone. Why is this important? The share of gain that the manager of a fund gets to keep for himself, and it's overwhelmingly hims, not hers, that do this because of the dominance of males in the finance world, likewise the dominance of white males, etc. In this rarefied rich people's playground, carried interest is the name given to the cut of the growth of the wealth pocket that the manager achieves. Why is this important? Because those folks were able to get the politicians they could persuade, perhaps with the help of a donation or 10, to pass a law, not that many years ago, which treated this carried interest, this share the manager gets for how well he manages to grow the money entrusted to him, that is treated as a capital gain, not as a current income for tax purposes, which means it is subjected to a much lower rate of taxation than it would be if you counted it as regular income. So the person who works all day, every day, in the little delicatessen or boutique or dress shop down the street, he or she pays the high income tax rate on their wage or salary earnings. But the billionaire hedge fund manager, and that's where most of the recent billionaires come from, the billionaire hedge fund manager who earns carried interest, the share of the increase he's gotten for the rich people whose money he invests, that person doesn't pay income tax rate. He pays the much lower capital gains rate, so that he is not only earning more than other people, he's paying less tax rate than they do. It's the opposite of a progressive tax system. It taxes the poor more and it taxes the super rich less. That's what carried interest is. This little category few people understand, whose purpose is to lower the tax rate on some of the richest people in the society. Thank you for sending your Ask Prof. Wolff questions in, and of course, our appreciation to the Patreon community whose support makes all this possible. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.